Today, AOC claims Americans hate women. The Biden administration is funding drug vending machines, and crime continues to ravage American cities because, as we know, that is the Biden way. We've got all of that and more coming up, and it all starts right now. Welcome to the news and why it matters. I am Sarah Gonzalez. Happy Friday Eve. Gotcha. I said Friday and you were like, what? It's Friday? No, it's Friday Eve. It's Thursday. All right. Today's episode is brought to you by Healthy Cell. They've got a ton of supplements to help you with sleep, focus, general multivitamin, whatever you want. They taste great. My family uses them. I mean, we are obsessed. So you got to go there. It is healthycell.com/news. Use code news for 20% off of your first order. That is healthycell.com/news. You will not regret it. I'm joined today by Jaco Booyens, BlazeTV contributor and host of The Bottom Line, also joined by Stu Burgier. Stu Burgier.
That's how everyone should introduce me.
Yeah, I felt like that too.
Like a wrestler?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
BlazeTV host, of course, of Stu Does America. You should be subscribed to both of these gentlemen on YouTube, at least until they allow them to stay on.
Right.
I feel like all of our days are numbered.
We have to qualify that statement. Subscribe, but most likely it will be deleted in your subscription.
Subscribe for now.
Yeah.
Don't expect it to last long with the kinds of truth that we're bringing you here. So AOC, good friend of the program, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, of course, recently gave an interview to GQ. And you guys will be shocked to hear, I know. I hope you're sitting down for this. She said a lot of moronic things. Yeah. So breaking news, everyone. You guys, that came out of left field. She claimed that she won't ever be president because Americans hate women. She said sometimes little girls will say, oh, I want you to be president, or things like that. It's very difficult for me to talk about because it provokes a lot of inner conflict. In that I never want to tell a little girl what she can't do. My experience here has given me a front row seat to how deeply and unconsciously, as well as consciously, so many people in...
It's a good sentence. she's off to a great start on this one.
So many people in this country hate women, and they hate women of color. Yeah, that's right. Consciously and unconsciously.
A lot of people hated
Bet you
Condoleezza
didn't know
Rice.
that.
Yeah, they really hated her. It seemed to be all people on the left that hated Condoleezza Rice. What a fascinating, I mean, this is an amazing interview. We could just sit here and read it the entire show, and it's
I've got some other zingers.
We're going to cover a lot of it.
Well,
Look,
but
you know when there's a power drain on a city and the lights just dim.
Yeah.
When she wakes up in the morning, America's IQ just dims a little bit. It just
so
goes.
true.
When she walks in a building, it says, we just lost some intelligence.
Can
some
we
intellect.
okay, so I'm going to say it because you guys are men and you'll get attacked if you say it.
Okay.
I don't think that it has anything to do with Americans hating women, especially because, roughly half of Americans are in fact women and don't hate women. I do, however, think that there is a subset of people who, I would say rightfully so, think that perhaps a woman, generally speaking, should not be president.
When you say a subset, what you mean is yourself.
I do.
Yeah, you are the subset.
She's talking about Sarah. Yes.
Absolutely. And now, are there going to be outliers? Like, will there be a woman who will surprise me? Sure. But generally speaking, I don't think women have the predisposition to become president. I think it's too much. They are too catty. They're too passive aggressive to deal with other world leaders. Like, I just don't think that women have the general demeanor to be president. And it has nothing to do with hating women, because I am a woman and I am a woman and I love myself and I love other women.
And you're a woman of color.
I am a woman of color. And I am also fighting for other women to not be erased by men dressing up as women, which is, as we know, the real patriarchy.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, women do things that you're like, no, you should not be on a world stage. Kamala Harris, great example. Need I say more?
Need we say more?
I would agree with you that Kamala Harris should never be president. We are on sound footing there. And
Stu's being really careful to only agree with me.
I'm not going to be
agree with
careful.
Sarah for 4% of what Sarah just said. I completely agree with. No, I mean, I think I think you're going to be shocked to hear this. A lot of guys shouldn't be president either, including the one that is president right now.
Well, that is
true.
fair.
And so
that is fair.
It is fair. And I think, it really is a job that very few people are qualified for. Yet we keep putting a lot of really terrible people up for the job over and over and over and over again. It would be nice if we picked the best among us sometimes. But what we see, I think, here is a situation with AOC where the defining characteristic of AOC is not that she's a socialist, it's that she's always the victim. That is her defining
I thought you were going to say
characteristic.
it's that she's always dumb.
She is always dumb, and she's always a socialist. But I think her defining characteristic is any situation she's presented with, she has to present herself as the victim. She sees herself that way.
Yeah. She's
She's living in a horror movie. When you read some of this interview, she's thinking she might be dead at any moment.
So let me bring that up now
Yeah.
that you said that. So she said she doesn't know if she's going to be alive by the end of the month. This is dire. This is a serious situation. She said, people ask me questions about the future, and realistically, I can't even tell you if I'm going to be alive in September. And that weighs very heavily on me. And it's not just the right wing. Misogyny transcends political ideology. Left, right, center. This grip of the patriarchy affects all of us, not just women, men, as I mentioned before, but also ideologically, there's an extraordinary lack of self-awareness in so many places.
Wow. Yeah, it sounds a lot like Paris Hilton. I mean, she sounds a lot like Paris Hilton.
That's very unfair to Paris Hilton.
No.
I will say.
She sounds a lot like Paris Hilton. That's not unfair. Okay, when you say stupid stuff like that, you need to be branded.
No, I say
that
it's
way.
unfair to Paris Hilton.
No, Paris said stuff like that too. Yeah, it's not unfair.
She feels insulted that we've compared AOC
so be
to
it.
her.
No, she should not be president. And I agree with you. No, there's certain things and pressure situations that you do not want a delayed response. And it's great that women are contemplators and they can think a hole through a wall and they can connect everything with everything in the past. But there are certain moments when you just need to pull the trigger or hit the nuke button, and that's it. And you just got to toughen up a little bit, which this girl and other girls can't do. But here's what I want to say about this girl. Seriously, she is stuck in a trauma loop. She behaves and talks like the girl in your high school when you were there that acted dumb because it got her attention. And this girl is in what we call a trauma loop. There's severe trauma in this girl's history. She wants to be the victim. She's gotten attention for being the victim, and she will play that until the end of days. Can you imagine if you have a president who plays the victim card more than what they're telling people to be victims now already? We have the one guy playing the dumb card, the senile card. This girl plays the victim card all day long. This is all you'll ever get from her. And I'm so thankful that she would never be president.
Well, first of all, she turns 35 several weeks before the election, so she is legitimately qualified, quote unquote, to be president constitutionally.
She should
for
run
this election for 2024.
She should run,
which is why.
And then when she gets 0.02% of the vote, maybe that's a wake-up call.
Let me paint a picture for you here.
Okay.
Think about this for a second.
I'm
Think about
excited
this
already. Go.
I want you to meditate on this for a moment. You're walking into the voting booth, okay? Dark figure behind you, gun to your head. You have to pick one of the two candidates.
Oh, God. I'm not.
The two candidates on the board are Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Paris Hilton. I am 100% voting for Paris Hilton.
You pick Paris.
Paris Hilton.
Paris Hilton 1,000 times in a row.
Sure, you pick Paris Hilton.
I mean, there's no question about it. She would be a better president than Alexandria Ocasio.
At least the Hilton board could say, listen, man, take your billions and go off there. They can't get rid of this girl, but listen, her own party doesn't support her. They tolerate her. She's a necessary evil.
Well, Nancy Pelosi said that anyone, a Democrat, what did she say? This glass of water could get elected in Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's district if it was a Democrat.
And she's right. And look, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is a thorn in the side of the Pelosi branch.
Yes,
of that.
of course.
I mean, she's a pain. And she's a pain to deal with because she's super famous for no reason.
They can't control her.
Here's a woman who sees herself as a victim, when in reality, what she was a bartender a few years ago and was able to rise to one of the most famous people in America in like a month. Like, that is not a society that is oppressing you. I don't understand how people see it this way. She constantly
It's like
sees
the NFL player signs a $30 million signing bonus, but he's oppressed.
But a slave. And they
He's
call
a
him
slave.
I'm a slave to this league.
Yeah.
Look at my fro, and I'm a slave.
Actual
I sign a signing
slaves
bonus.
would have loved to have been in
Yeah,
your
come on.
position and been your kind of slave, let me tell you.
It really doesn't seem that so many people in the public eye can keep things in perspective. Look, what her story, outside of her socialism and her idiocy and all of the nonsense, is an incredible story, right? Like, she is a giant zilch intellectually. She was serving beers and turned into one of the most famous people in America for nothing. Like, they gave her one of the most, and that's the same way Paris Hilton earned it, although maybe a little bit differently, I suppose, now that I think back of the Paris Hilton history. There's a little more video on Paris, but the bottom line is, with the same amount of accomplishment, they became equally famous. That's impressive.
No, come on. Paris came. There was legacy in front of her. There's hotels with her family name on it.
That's fair.
There's something else. Okay, so Paris, I give you 2 kudos here. You would win a race against Ocasio-Cortez.
I'm signing up right now.
I'd rather talk about Paris Hilton than Ocasio-Cortez. Honestly.
Did we just announce Paris Hilton's candidacy?
Yes,
for
we did.
2024? What
Running
is going
against
on?
Cortez.
Yes.
What is going on? So I just want to remind people, as we're talking about AOC and how horrible she is, just at literally everything that as taxpayers you're paying her to do, she was cast for this role. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is, you go to the Justice Democrats videos that they have on their social media and all of that. They had a PAC. It was a Justice Democrats PAC. This was a group formed by Bernie Sanders campaign leaders and how do you say his name from the Young Turks? Cenk?
Oh, Cenk.
Cenk. I don't know.
Uyghur.
I don't want to say it right because I don't like him. But here's a video from 2016 by the Justice Democrats PAC. Watch.
Back in 2016, we put out a call for nominations, trying to capture the diversity of background, of experience of the American electorate, the people that aren't currently represented in office. We got over 10,000 nominations. Out of those 10,000 nominations, we found Alexandria.
My brother told me that he had sent my nomination in the summer, but I was like, literally working at a restaurant, and I was like, there's no way.
Her profile is not what you'd think of as someone who should run for office, right?
I grew up with a really politically engaged and attuned family, and we always were debating politics, talking about things, but we were never involved in the formal structures of politics.
We saw these signs of someone who's willing to sacrifice their own future for the good of others.
Oh, what?
Sacrifice her own
You
future.
misread that one, buddy.
As a bartender,
missed
she had a high hopes.
Yeah.
High hopes. Major things in front of her.
Self-sacrifice? Have you ever seen that girl do
Absolutely.
self-sacrifice? Oh, yeah, right.
She gave up pouring me a Jack and Diet right now.
Right. That could have been her.
To
Her
go,
life.
to go perform, in her Instagram live videos where she
Instead,
pretends
she's just
like
a millionaire. She could have been serving hard seltzers, and now instead she's a millionaire. What a sacrifice! That is it's amazing too. Like what? Again, we're supposed to be the racist, right? Like that's us. Our side's supposed to be the racist side. But like, do you believe that her background doesn't fit the profile of a candidate? Why? I don't believe that. Who says that? I don't think that's true at all.
That's a great point.
Because she's what? Because she's Hispanic, or because she's not white, or because she's a woman? That doesn't. I don't have that predetermined. I mean, Sarah does, but I don't have that predetermined belief that a woman can't run for Congress, or can't run for Senate, or can't run for president.
Whoa.
You're fine with Congress and
I'm
Senate.
fine with Congress
Just not
and Senate,
president.
not president.
Okay.
That's my thing.
VP?
I mean, Kamala Harris hasn't been a very fine example of that.
No, she's been very bad.
But I just
Just the
don't
president.
think.
Okay, I don't wanna
think
put
the
words in your
maternal instinct of a female cannot coexist with the decisions that need to be made, the cutthroat decisions that need to be made by a president of the United States.
People should understand how well she's thought this through. This is not like something she's blurting out. This is
I'm enjoying this. I'm proud of Sarah, and I'm waiting to see where you're going, Stu.
Do you listen to women like when they're out at brunch? I don't want these catty, passive-aggressive girls running the country. They're going to get us nuked.
Nuked, I'm telling you. Sarah says we're going to get nuked. No, look. I'll say, look, on the. I don't want to change the subject, but on the heels of other nations who've had female leaders, if we look at that, it is a softer approach to international politics. And at the time we live in today, you don't want to go soft on North Korea. You don't want to go soft on Putin. You don't want to go soft even on Zelensky. Yes, I said it. Not such a good guy, right? It is a time to draw a line in the sand and have a little bit of play harder ball.
Yeah.
And that is a little more difficult for women. Not the scorned, women scorned, hell has no fury in a woman scorned individual, which shouldn't be present anyway. But in general, some of the decisions that has to be made as a president, which our guys are not making, are very in the moment, and they are cutthroat.
I will say this. I'm going to give you last words, too. I will say this. It's the same reason that I don't think that women should be in combat, right? Like,
Yes.
there are certain...
Or building our roads.
Right. There are certain, you know, characteristics that I think that men have, generally speaking, that they are more qualified to, you know, to do certain jobs. That, you know, in military is one of them, and also leading the free world.
Yeah, look, I mean, you know, there are differences between men and women.
Yeah.
And especially when you talk about broad categories, right? Like, you know, when you're talking about one individual, I think you could find that individual. You know, I don't agree with everything policy-wise with Condoleezza Rice, but she seems to have really the temperament of someone who could handle a job like that. As, you know, hearing her speak thousands of times over the years.
I mean, until another world leader pisses her off.
But
Right,
you,
well,
you
yeah.
would still see a different approach, though. It would be a different
Go
approach.
ahead. Go ahead.
Fundamentally, we should just realize the lady in Finland seems like a blast. She'd be great. Let's bring her over. She seems fantastic. I want her over here right
He's
now.
looking for a party.
She would be great.
I want a party
Come on.
too.
He wants Stu's happy hour. America, Stu's happy hour.
Yes.
Our country's crumbling. Can we at least like enjoy it while it lasts, please?
Trying to put it back together here.
We've got more to come. Boy, we're just getting started. First, we want to thank our sponsor, Raycon. So, look, I'm constantly on the go. Also, I have children, and the thing about having two boys is that they're very loud. They're very loud. Okay, but with Raycon, I can put in my earbuds.
Are you drowning out
Wait
your
a minute.
kids?
Do you do that?
Absolutely.
Well, the thing is with the Raycons too, people can't see them.
I know.
They don't know.
They don't know.
They don't dangle below your ears.
So the kids still talk to you?
They
and
still
you just
talk
nod?
to me. Absolutely. I don't know what the toddler's saying anyway. I have no idea what the toddler's saying.
He's asking for
anyway.
sugar, Sarah, and you're saying yes.
Well, I'm not giving it to him, so I guess I'm just confusing him. I don't know. But the point being, I love my Raycons. They're wireless earbuds, and as Stu pointed out, you can't see them because they don't have the dumb stems that stick down and, you know, weigh your ear down and all of that. They're very discreet. They fit very comfortably in your ear, and you're going to get awesome audio quality. I love them. We all love them here at The Blaze. You got to try some. You can go to buyraycon.com/Y. You'll get 15% off of your Raycon order. That is BUY. Buyraycon.com/Y. And you know another thing about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, we're talking about this. We ran out of time, but I have something else to tell you guys about in this GQ article. You know, she's engaged. She has a fiance, and she said she wasn't sure if she wanted to marry her fiance because he is white. She said this to GQ. She said, here's what GQ said. GQ described the conversation about her reluctancy to marry her boyfriend as, quote, she wasn't positive that an intercultural, interracial relationship would be the right fit for her, end quote. These are the same people who say that the conservatives are going to take interracial marriage away and
That's
how
incredible.
bad that is. And
Yep.
they're like, I don't think I want to be in an interracial marriage. That's really not for me. I'd rather just stay with my kind. Hello? Is anyone home?
What a great point. I mean, that's such. I didn't even put that together with the interracial marriage thing that they're trying to scare everybody about for no particular reason. Because Clarence Thomas is certainly going to overturn interracial marriage.
What a way to find out that your husband wants a divorce from Jenny Thomas.
In GQ.
And we talk about racism a lot. It gets into the news a lot. Usually, it's surrounding some tweet, some racist, quote unquote, racist joke from a comedian. Somebody says something insensitive, doesn't use the right word for a particular thing. That's always called racism. This is much more purely racism, right?
Absolutely.
Like, if you are contemplating in any way that you wouldn't want to marry someone because of the color of their skin, That is like fundamentally racist.
But not just in a hypothetical sense. While she's engaged to the dude,
Yeah.
we have a bench out here, the actual Forrest Gump bench.
Yeah.
I want to say to that buddy, run, Forrest, run.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you imagine Alex Stein, the girl you want to marry? She would have been talking about you. She would have said, I'm not so sure if I want to marry Alex because he's white. So they are the racists.
Can you explain the Alex
Come on.
Stein AOC thing? Like,
He loves
has
her.
a thing for her?
He does have a thing for her.
Like for real.
I don't get it. I don't get like
He
look,
insulted Sarah. He called that his favorite Latina.
I was very. I said your favorite big booty Latina
I'm
is
just
not
letting
me.
you know.
That is rude.
No, I'm just letting you know.
I will say I don't get it. Like there are plenty of Democrats. I mean, everybody in Hollywood is a liberal, and many of them are very, very attractive. I don't get the AOC thing. Some people see it. I don't get it. But you know who does see AOC as attractive is AOC. She's constantly talking about how hot she is,
She's upset
how people
about
are
what you
hitting
said.
her on her, like how people. The only reason they talk to her is because she's so hot.
No,
I don't
hot
get it.
hot in the
Sue,
sun,
you're hurting
maybe.
her feelings. Look
You're
at her
hurting her feelings,
crying
too.
at the fake border
Yeah.
where there was nothing happening, and
And
she
her
just took the photo out.
How much was that watch? I don't remember the story, but it was several $1,000 watch.
Manolo Blanc shoes. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, we all go to the border in white jeans. You know, that's how we go
it's
do
just
our work.
Fundamentally pragmatic thing to do.
I mean,
you know, a
that's,
very dusty area. Make sure you get there and you're all whites.
I can't.
Dress like you're at Wimbledon.
How do you feel?
It's like, who does this?
How do you feel if you're this poor schlep that like asked her to marry you?
You
and
feel
she's like,
dumb, Sarah. You feel dumb.
Yeah,
You
no,
feel
but the
If you're a
guy doesn't
reasonable
have
person.
a spine. If he
Yeah.
goes for a girl like that, sorry, Alex, you don't have a spine. I mean, come on. What guy settles for a girl like that? Come on.
He's just throwing all sorts of shade at Alex.
Yeah, I am.
And I promise you, I will send him this episode.
Please, I'll send it to him.
So I want as much fun as it is talking about AOC. I want to get to something a little different here, but equally as ridiculous. The Biden administration is spending $3.6 million to test the effectiveness of, quote, harm reduction kiosks in rural Kentucky. Now, you may be wondering what that is. These are kiosks that contain items and substances such as syringes, fentanyl test strips, condoms, how do you say this, naloxone. And so they're saying, according to, this is an NIH grant that was awarded to do this. So the vending machines may be a preferable option to traditional harm reduction clinics because they eliminate the stigma, obviously, of having to speak to a real person, like a medical professional, a doctor, to procure all of their drug paraphernalia. I mean, you don't want to have to talk to a doctor when you're trying to do illicit substances. So this just makes it a little bit easier. You just put your quarter in and you can just get all of your safe drug use kits right there in this vending machine. That is great. I mean, I guess we shouldn't be surprised because this is the same administration who sent safe smoking kits across the country and gave you free crack pipes, which I know Hunter was the one. Like when Hunter said, "I can tell my dad to do anything and he will do it." That was Hunter's idea. Hunter was like, "Dad, what we need are the free crack pipes because I got a bunch of my friends asking about it and this is really what we want to do." And Joe Biden was like, "You know what we're going to do? We're going to do a safe crack pipe initiative and you're going to pay, your taxpayer money is going to fund all of this."
This may be Hunter's idea too.
It probably is.
But this is akin to what they're doing, right? Let's call it a harm reduction, vending machine mechanism. Let's not call it sexual exploitation of children. Let's call it transgender healthcare in the classroom. They'll never call it what it is. But my question is, does this machine read whether you're 12 or 22? Does it determine whether the 7-year-old can get himself a needle? Is this AI that's going to retina scan the kid, fingerprint, and make sure it's not a minor?
Of course not.
It's reckless. All these are mechanisms just to beg for votes. Just what do you want? What do you want? You want a crack pipe? We'll give you a crack pipe. What else do you want? You want to rob a store? Rob a store. You want to set the city on fire? Do whatever you want. Open the border. Bring your whole family. Just vote for us.
You wouldn't think the crack-addicted voter would be reliable, but apparently they do seem to even be buying off the crack.
They're
people.
gonna shut the vending machine down like a week before voting day because they want to make sure that they are not so strung out that they actually show up. Maybe
there you go. Or maybe put the crack place right near the voting booth and go. You go in there first, and then you come on our side.
We'll give you more.
Yeah, we'll give you more.
We'll give you some pocket change to go in the vending machine if you vote.
Or maybe vote wrong because he's high.
Yeah, that could happen.
Accidentally.
those who of a certain age will remember these. I was at a bar probably like, I don't know, 5-10 years ago now. It's been a while. And I remember walking toward the back of the bar by the pool tables there and seeing, for the first time in a long time, one of those cigarette vending machines. Do you remember those things with the little knobs and you pull them out?
The Marlboros.
Yeah, they used to be in
Camels.
every bar and they'd be all over the place. And now we've gotten rid of those for a legal product, though also not a great idea. And we now are implementing the same idea that we just got rid of the old school cigarette vending machines that were only in places where you had to be 21 or older to be in. Now we're going to throw needle machines all over the country.
Yeah.
This is, again, we joke about it. This is Biden's America. This is what he's bringing to you. Their philosophies are antithetical to what our foundations are. I don't know how to state it any more clearly than that. It's just like what they're trying to do here is turn this country into something that it is not. It's got nothing to do with what AOC would say. Well, they don't want women in charge, and they don't want people of color in charge, and it's got nothing to do with that. We have a foundation here where we're supposed to be able to. This is supposed to be a good country based on good things. We understand there are bad things inside of it, and we fight back against those things and try to stop them and try to persuade people not to do them. Instead, it's the opposite. Yeah. We make it easier for people to do drugs. We try to make it easier for them to shoot up needles. We're watching, we're in the middle of all of these crazy, diseases being passed around and the opioid crisis and all these things. And our answer to it is like, let's make it a little bit easier. It doesn't make any sense.
But still, we're celebrating the demonic and the evil and the ungodly, and we're giving it fuel and validity. And I'm asking, what does this say about our nation? Truly, if we can just be serious for a minute. A nation that doesn't say, well, enough is enough, man. This is insane. A public outcry to go, wait a minute, vending machines with needles, and it says something about us as a culture.
Yeah, it's true. Last one, real quick, I'm sorry. But we go back to Bill Clinton. He's in front of he's asked about pot, and he says, I smoked, but I didn't inhale. Tried to hedge himself to say, I didn't use drugs. Kamala Harris is asked about being high, and she says, I smoked pot in 1986 listening to Snoop Dogg. And Snoop Dogg didn't come out with an album until 1993, so it was a blatant lie. She's creating stories to say she was doing drugs. That is a 20-year period where the Democratic Party went from lying to say we didn't do it to lying to say we did. It is a fundamental transformation of our society. Barack Obama promised it, and Joe Biden is carrying it out.
Yeah, speaking of our society turning godless and demonic, we'll get to that after the break. First, we want to thank our sponsor, Patriot Mobile. Look, if you guys are still paying Big Mobile, any of those big mobile carriers to have your cell phone every month, you are funding all of the things that you are working against, because all of those companies are taking a portion of your money and they're donating it to all of these left-leaning causes that you are fighting against, like pro-choice organizations, like organizations that are trying to take your guns away. This is a big deal. This is why Patriot Mobile is different from any other provider out there, because they're actually going to take a portion of your money in your bill and they're going to donate it to causes that you believe in, that support you, that are fighting with you on the same side. You're going to get the same service. They all share the same towers. It's all the same nationwide great service. You can take your number over there or you can get a new one, whatever you would like, but they are America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. And we got to stick together right now. Now is the time to go to patriotmobile.com/news. Use the offer code NEWS to get free activation. That is patriotmobile.com/news. Yesterday, White House monkeypox coordinator Dmitry Daskalakis claimed that monkeypox. Did you like that?
I did. You
nailed it. Well done.
Daskalakis. I don't know if I said it right.
Sounds, that's interesting. What do we know? It sounds like it's like something I would order at a Greek restaurant.
It does.
Probably Greek.
It does sound
Probably
Greek. I don't know. But he claimed that monkeypox is, just a reminder, guys, monkeypox is an infection, not an identity. No stigma. Watch.
This virus transmits through very close skin-to-skin physical contact, often in the setting of sexual exposure. But there are other mechanisms for its transmission, including if you touch objects that individuals who've had monkeypox touch, or if you have prolonged exposure to respiratory droplets. With that said, signaling to people who are in the gay, bisexual, other men who have sex with men communities, and also transgender people who have sex with men, that it's really important to have awareness that it's circulating in the community is really a critical part of the messaging, while not generating inordinate concern and really focusing on the infection as linked to an identity. But it's just an infection. It's not linked to an identity. It just happens to be in the social network.
Okay. Got a question. Hoping you guys can help me with this. So he said gay in the gay community or the bi community, and men who have sex with other men.
Yeah. He
which I feel like is just gay.
Was a separate
so I
category.
don't understand, is that not just gay? Like, if you're, PSA to all the men out there, if you in fact are having sex with other men, you're gay. It doesn't matter if it's a different area code. It doesn't matter if it's a different zip code. It doesn't matter if it's just a little,
what if you're on a
little
business
fling
trip? If
on
you're
a business trip.
Then it's okay? No?
Still gay. It's still gay. And I'm not criticizing you for that. It's just still gay.
Yep,
like,
and no matter
gay.
where you are, you're still a monkeypox magnet.
I mean, if you're going to the gay orgies.
That does seem to be where it's spreading. What is it, 98%?
Just 98%.
Just the 98%.
Yeah.
Or if you touch the objects they had with them at the time.
Okay.
Woo, and boy, let me tell you, those things vibrated a lot.
We've got some interesting road we've gone down here.
This is a show.
I actually went.
I'm getting fired.
Get us back on the rails, too. Get us back on the rails, too.
I had a similar observation as you recently when I first heard this same framing of men having sex with men. And a lot of times they won't even say gay. They'll just say men having sex with men. And I was like, is this a new PC thing?
There's a shortened version to say that.
Right, because the whole point of having a
normalizing
word,
it.
right?
It's normalizing it.
When you have a word has a definition.
Right.
The word is used to shorten the definition. We could all say, well, I like that lemon-flavored beverage that's powder into water, and you spin around and you put a lemon on top, and then you drink it in a cup. Or you could just say lemonade, right?
Yeah.
Like you're supposed to have word. So the word gay was meant to summarize men who have sex with men. That was the whole point of it. And now they're saying it like it's this totally different group. I have heard, we were talking about this on the air, I think on radio one day, and someone called in and said, I guess in the HIV, like the early days of HIV, there were apparently a bunch of men who had sex with men but did not consider themselves gay. I don't, now of course.
Newsflash.
You have that. I know your point. I think
is the Roman Empire,
right? But there was this idea. Of course you have bisexual, like maybe that wouldn't be included in gay, but like. I guess it was like maybe guys were they were experimenting or whatever they thought they were doing, did not see themselves that way and therefore did not think they were going to be affected. That is to me, felt like a stretch, honestly, as an explanation.
That's called denial.
Yeah, that's kind of.
And the word gay is something they plucked because the word gay in the dictionary is jubilee, it's joyful, it's happy.
Sure.
So like anything else, they bastardized the rainbow, the word gay. No, it's homosexual.
So
you're gonna go with a guy, you're homosexual.
Yeah, I want to, I would be remiss if I didn't bring up that there was a picture of this particular White House monkeypox coordinator, Dimitri, who began circulating, showing him wearing a pentagram on his chest. And he also appears to have a pentagram tattoo.
It's a leather pentagram.
It is a leather
studded pentagram.
I just feel like if you have a monkeypox, like, is he the monkeypox coordinator because he is the one most likely to get it and can tell you about it? Because I feel like if you're going to have a monkeypox coordinator, it should not be someone who is,
I'll say
most likely to go out and get it.
He's more qualified for his position than the current press secretary is for her position.
100%. But I mean,
the pentagram.
The pentagram is
of course, but it's all together, right?
But I think
you might as well bring demons into the thing.
I think you could make an argument that, like, if this is the community being affected, if it's someone who might be able to relate to that community, it might be a good messenger to get that stuff and information out.
But he's just saying, don't stigmatize them.
Right, which is not the message. Like, it's like try, protect yourself would be be a much stronger message than don't
Stop
stigmatize,
having
right?
gay orgies might be the message to
Really,
provide.
I'm going to go out on a limb here. I think the orgy thing overall in any
It's
sexuality,
a bad idea.
like,
It's a
just
bad
not
idea.
a good.
Not a good idea.
It's just like something you might want to stay away from.
Yeah, not good.
It's got to be a lot ickier than it might seem in your head. I don't know. I've never participated in one, but like I just feel like the bottom line, you'd probably wind up regretting it. I don't know.
Yeah,
there are some people who seem to enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I just feel like
But
at the end
do
of the
they?
day,
Nah.
probably not a good idea.
It's true because I do, like, when people are like, well, that's stigmatizing the gay community to say stop having gay orgies. I'm like, okay, stop having orgies. I'm comfortable with
right.
that. I'm comfortable saying that.
That's
I
a good
don't
policy.
really.
That's just good, solid policy.
Sound advice.
You know, I mean,
Dr. Drew, sound advice.
right there you go. You know, just
That's good.
just don't.
Just don't do it.
Just don't. You
I'm
know?
definitely getting fired after the show. All right, we've got to
Who's
take a...
firing you that likes orgies so much they'd be offended by this conversation?
That is a
I'm not answering this
misrepresentation
question because
of the
I don't want to
leadership
get
of the
fired.
Blaze.
I don't want to get
You
fired.
are not getting fired.
I'm not answering that question. We've got more to come. First, we want to thank our sponsor, Sweatblock. So Sweatblock is there for those of you who sometimes you feel like there's like a faucet in your underarm area and you can't control when it turns on. And when it turns on, it's always really embarrassing because you're in the middle of a date or you're in the middle of a presentation or something. And you're like, wow, everyone who's watching me can see the giant sweat stains under my arms. Don't be that person. You got to get Sweatblock. They have these wipes that you apply at night, and they're going to protect you from all of this embarrassing and uncomfortable sweat for actually like up to 7 days. And you're like, yeah, right, Sarah, that's not true. Well, I got to tell you, it is true. My husband tried them out, and we're in the middle of a 10 billion degree summer in Texas, and it worked for him. So you got to try the deodorant stick as well. They've got it all for you over at sweatblock.com. If you use promo code NEWS, you will get 20% off over at sweatblock.com, promo code NEWS. Yesterday, we covered the murder case of Memphis teacher Eliza Fletcher, who was kidnapped and murdered by a repeat violent offender. Last night, a 19-year-old Memphis man was caught after live streaming himself shooting at civilians for hours. He ended up killing 4 people. And you would be shocked to hear, I'm sure, if you're not paying attention, that the suspect was let out of prison this past March after serving less than a year for an attempted murder charge that was plea bargained down to aggravated assault. And, you know, we bring up the Memphis situation to just emphasize that, you know, how much is happening. But it's not just Memphis. It's happening across the country. You have these Democrat-run cities who have these left-leaning policies. They're letting offenders out on bail. You have Chicago that's starting the Safety Act or whatever, where they're decriminalizing a bunch of things. Officers can't detain people. They have to cite them and let them leave for very serious offenses. This is a big deal happening across the nation, and Memphis is just one sort of inlet that we have into an example of how this can go horribly wrong when there's no restorative justice. People have no consequences for their actions and they're just let out. Unfortunately, there are consequences for their actions, and it ends up that innocent Americans suffer and innocent American families are left without their loved ones because of these policies.
But Sarah, I also think, you know, look, crime begets crime.
Yeah.
And now it's a lawless society is what the Joe Biden administration wants because they want anarchy. But I also think we've gotten into this weird place since George Floyd where we're celebrating those who do wrong. They're celebrating. If you break into a store, they celebrate it. Their faces on television, and it's celebrated. It's not frowned upon unilaterally, at least vocally, by society, because people are so afraid to say, no, that's breaking the law. That's not okay. It's not okay to do that. It's not okay to steal. It's not okay to lie. It's not okay to, you know, and murder. And so they're so bold now, and the mentally ill, which there are many, are being celebrated. And so now they'll go to a live stream and do something as horrific as this. And a part of it is on the culture. We have tolerated it. We've given the inch. They've taken the mile. And this administration, however they came into power, they like this.
I mean, there's fundamentally 2 ways you can run a society, right? You can have one that is a totalitarian, where you're controlling every aspect of everyone's life and trying to control them from doing something wrong before they do it. The other side is what we try to do, which is have freedom and have people be able to enjoy their lives. And we basically say there's an element of self-governance here. You're going to have to control your own actions and play within the rules. And it is difficult to stop a mass shooter who went to high school and has never committed a crime before and gets out and he decides to go buy a gun and go shoot up his old school. That's really, really difficult to stop in this type of government and this type of society.
Right.
The one defense we have is once you catch someone doing something wrong,
exactly.
you can keep them away from the other people.
Don't let them go.
Don't let them out. No more recidivism. That's the problem. It's really the only way we can control things in our society. When someone does something serious, you take it seriously. And if you can do that, someone's stalking someone. We saw this with the guy who ran over all the people at the parade at Christmas, who had just been released after trying to run someone else over. If you are a type of person that is going to run over your ex-girlfriend because you're upset about it, you're the type of person that should be away from everyone else for as long as the law will possibly allow. That is the only way we've really been able to reverse big crime waves in our history. We saw it in New York with Giuliani when he was there. That was one of the main things they did. Yes, everyone talks about, oh, well, they stopped the squeegee guys on the corner of the street. Yeah, they did that. But fundamentally, when people committed crimes, they put them in prison and kept them there as long as possible. So they got older. When they were released, they were in their 40s or their 50s, and they were less likely to do these things. All these things build a much better civilization. You can't put people in prison before they do those things here. But once they do them, you can, and you should.
But Stu, if you care about something, you keep it in order. You discipline it like your children and the parents who don't want to discipline. That's unbiblical. It's ungodly to have a society where there's no consequence. And yes, you incarcerate a guy. That system is checks and balances, and it's worked. It's worked for millennia. It worked in the Wild West when you were chasing the guy down and putting him away, right? Why? So he could come to his senses, maybe get some help, and yes, mature, because it is predominantly youngsters who are doing these things. It's not men in their 50s and their 60s that are doing this around the world. That kind of crime is a crime of a young man that's outside of his mind, that's now incentivized by a lunatic administration. And so there has to be long-term effects. Look at Newsom, lowering the penalties for sodomy, canceling the sex offender registry. This is emboldening people to go, you know what? Let my crazy hang out because there's no consequence. And we're going to pay a price as a society for it.
Yeah. All right, we got to take a quick break, but I just want to remind you guys, if you've not already subscribed to Blaze TV, you got to go over there. I never know if we're going to say something that's going to get us booted off of YouTube. And
yes, you do. You do it every show.
I mean,
Probably
we basically do.
Yeah.
Who knows? But I also don't know when our last day on YouTube is going to be, which means you got to be prepared by going to BlazeTV.com.
Have you listened to the show? The last day's today. This is the last day.
Well, I'm sure you're going to have a lot of fun with the new host.
Subscribe.
Whoever they pick for the new host, I'm sure is going to be great. It'll probably just be on BlazeTV.com, so you got to go there. It's BlazeTV.com. Use code NEWS20 for $20 off your first year. Again, the new host will really appreciate it, and I hope that you'll welcome them with open arms. That is BlazeTV.com, promo code NEWS20. Zion's Bank in Utah pulled its sponsorship from the upcoming Boise Pride Festival over a scheduled drag kids show where children as young as 11 are actually performing on stage. Again, drag kid show doesn't mean it's also for kids, but by kids as well, performed by kids. So this bank said that they had always supported over the years a variety of Pride events because they're an important part of our support for our LGBTQ employees. But they were unaware of the event's activities involving children and minors. And since learning of that, they have decided to withdraw their participation. I say this, I want to get your thoughts on this, gentlemen, but I say this to tell the audience, keep pushing back, okay? Because they would not have done this if they had not received angry phone calls from across the community saying, how the hell can you do this to our children? On that note, by the way, if I have not gotten back to you about the Houston event, I am working on it. I've got such a large influx of people. And, there's another drag show for kids in Denton, Texas, this weekend on Sunday. If you would like to help me, shut the whole thing down, please DM me. Gentlemen.
Yeah, shut the whole thing down. I'll say this. This bank obviously never knew the actual meaning of their name because they've gotten it wrong for a long time.
I was thinking that too. I was like,
wrong name. You don't understand the origin of your name, Zion. But this time they got it right because it's children, and at least we know there's a line they won't cross. But this is happening, to your point, the only time this stops is when the public pushes back. They will never, Evil does not govern itself. You bring light into darkness and it drives darkness out. Darkness does not drive darkness out. So thinking that this would just go away, it's a moment in American history, no, it will get worse.
Yeah.
It will go deeper and darker, so you have to make it stop.
Yeah. Stu, last word.
It's disturbing, and I know you're doing something about it. I talked to Nate Hodgman from the National Review, who did a story that 20 Major League teams are doing Pride Days that are funding surgeries for children. It's a disturbing time. Some of these companies I don't think really know the whole scope, but many do.
Yeah. Keep pushing back. It's working. Thanks, guys.